And so we'll start with our first question here. And our first question is, what does Christian Reconstruction look like in the real world?
How much time do we have?
Just go ahead.
I think a lot of people, when they think about Christian Reconstruction, they look at the end point rather than the entry point. And I think that's the biggest problem. In fact, Mac and I were just talking a little bit about the sports and so forth thing. When I was 14 years old, I decided, I'd read a magazine, Strength and Health magazine. It's a June issue, 1964. It was about Dallas Long, who at the time held the world record in the shot put at the college level and the Olympic level, 16 pounds. But in high school, he had thrown the shot put 69 feet 3 inches, and which is an unbelievable feat, 69 feet 3 inches. But I read his magazine. I was 14 at the time, and I said I wanted to beat that record. And the magazine talked about how he was doing weightlifting to do it. And it gave his performance in his sophomore year, his junior year, and his senior year. And I think Christian Reconstruction is a lot like weightlifting. If you have to bench press 400 pounds and throw 70 feet, you don't put 400 pounds on the bar and start to try to bench press it, or Mac will be preaching at your funeral. It just doesn't work. You have to start incrementally. That's why the plates are 50 pounds, 25 pounds, 35 pounds, 10s, 5s, 2.5s, 1.25s, because you build up strength until you get to the point where you can lift heavier and heavier weight. And of course, your body gets bigger, your tendons get stronger, your ligaments get stronger. So it takes time to get to that point. It's the same thing with Christian Reconstruction. It begins with self-government, family government, church government, and various modes of civil government. If you're not self-governed or self-reconstructed, you're not going to be able to reconstruct your family. So until Christians are self-governed, self-reconstructed, we're not going to see the type of society that people are looking for. Now, if we get to that point, you don't need the civil magistrate as much in order to do what the civil magistrate does, because the majority of people are in fact living out their lives in terms of their own operating moral system, which is Christian based. And it wasn't too long ago that was pretty much it. Even people who weren't Christians in my neighborhood, we hardly had any problems. We left our doors open at night. We just open our doors at night and put a fan in the screen in the door and leave it unlocked. I mean, why is that the case? Not everybody was a Christian, but there was a spillover effect in a culture that was Christian. There was, of course, people who didn't want to be pushed out of the community and so forth. So for Christian Reconstruction to take place and what it's going to look like, it'll only look as good as it's supposed to look when people act in terms of their commitment to God's Word and His commandments. Thank you.
Now I'm going to have to ask Dr. DeMar here if it's a Sycophanian test. Is that what it is?
Sisyphus. Is it Sisyphus?
Sycophanian,
I think.
When I hear Christian Reconstruction, that's what I think of. Now, the Greek proverb was, you roll that stone up the mountain, only to have it roll back down. And the ever-ending task was you were forever pushing that boulder up the mountain, and only to have it come back and push it back. That's exactly what I think about when it comes to Christian Reconstruction. It's always going up or going down. And the best example I can think of, which is nearest our own time, was Martin Luther. Christianity had gotten to the point where even the priests didn't know the Ten Commandments. The priest had next to no Bible knowledge at all. It was strictly the church, membership in the church. Nobody knew the Bible because it was written in a language that no one could read. And the church was just as happy as it could be with nobody being able to read the Bible. Why? Well, if the congregation reads the Bible, then they can hold you, the pastor, or you, the pope, or you, the bishop, accountable for your own conduct. And so it is today with our government. Does the government really want you to read? What would happen if you really read and understood that the land belongs to the Lord and taxes are illegitimate on the part of the government and the government is stealing from you? Well, they kind of like your ignorance very well. Well, how would you like it if they read the Constitution and found out that the income tax is not constitutional, that it's even questionable that it got through? And on I could go. The national reading level, when I was gathering information for my dissertation, was 5th grade and following. And that was a long, long time ago. I'll be 82 years old in a few weeks. So you get an idea how long ago that was. What's the reading level today? I would estimate maybe 3rd grade. Now we're talking about 5th grade of people who successfully have a 12th grade diploma. How about all the dropouts? Well, they're reading worse. Today, the successful graduates are probably reading, I'd have to look it up, 3rd grade, I'd say. So therefore, the government doesn't care about that. Why? Well, you'd be holding the politicians responsible for being thieves. But returning to my idea of the Sisyphean task, St. Augustine, now this is going way back, he said the government is a criminal syndicate. He said, it would be equivalent today of saying they're mafiosos, they're criminals. That's what he said about the government in his day. But of course, we go up in morality, down in morality, and so the task that pastors are doing, and Christians are doing, and families are doing, is never ending. Yeah. What they say, freedom is only one generation away. Mm-hmm. That's what it is. And we consider ourselves illiterate. 3rd grade, 5th grade, and for the successful 12th grade graduate. And how many have read the Bible? How many can read the Bible? How few can understand what they read? So we have a tremendous task, but a never-ending task. It's never over. And the other thing that amuses me is these people that come up with the magic bullet that's going to fix the whole thing. What Dr. DeMar said is absolutely correct. It's something that takes forever. But then you have to do it over again, and over again, and over again. You have to be a sentinel on the wall of liberties, hollering forever, fighting onward and onward and onward. No, it's not a simple task indeed. And it's certainly not something that can be done in one generation, or even 2 generations, because if it could, you'd have to do it all over again anyway. That's what I think of when I think of Christian Reconstruction. I'll never be out of work, no matter how old I get. Thank you.
Because of my short time, I was going to talk up here. I was going to talk about Frederick Douglass. Frederick Douglass was born a slave, and his slave master's wife sat down and was teaching Frederick Douglass how to read. And when his wife's husband heard about this, he said, "You stop teaching him how to read." So why? Well, he'll read the Bible. That's what she was using. She was using the Bible to teach him how to read. He'll use the Bible and find out he shouldn't be a slave. That in the Bible, slavery is called kidnapping, and it deserves capital punishment. Taking somebody from another nation and bringing him over here and putting him into servitude is kidnapping in the Bible, and it's a capital crime. So don't teach him how to read. And he said Frederick Douglass said that was his first introduction to the anti-slavery movement, was being told, don't read the Bible. When he was in Baltimore, he would scour the gutters in Baltimore looking for discarded Bibles and pages from the Bible, and he would dry them out, trying to figure out what the Bible had to say. What was so dangerous about this Bible that my slave owner didn't want me to know about? Well, we've got Bibles everywhere today. Probably one in every home, probably 2, maybe 3. If you don't read the Bible and understand what the Bible has to say, you're just as much as a slave as Frederick Douglass was.
Amen.
Thank you very much. I don't have anything to add to that either. I think that was fantastic. Okay, we'll move on to our next question here, and similar to what we're doing, just pass this around, see who has a question and answer for this. But let's move on to families, because education is very much a family responsibility, and where you put your children, what you teach them, how you rear them. And so the next question goes along these lines: what is the family's responsibility in education of their children? And we'll start with Dr. DeMar.
Say what the responsibility is. It's all your responsibility. Every decision you make in terms of education is yours. It's the same thing with a doctor. Whose responsibility is to heal your children? You do the best you can with what you got, and then if you get to the point where you're not able to do something, you hire somebody to take care of the doctoring for you. You don't have someone else do that for you. You do that. You make the decision. Of course, the state's beginning to take that away from us as well. Remember, you can keep your doctor. So it's all you. You're all responsible for it. But there may come times when you have to delegate that authority. This in loco parentis. It doesn't mean crazy parents. It means you designate somebody to be in your place in the parental role. But then you make the decision of whether or not you want to keep that person as the locating parent. So it's all your responsibility. It's not my responsibility to educate your children. You're responsible to do that. Everyone here knows that. So every Christian ought to know that as well. Don't turn your children over to Babylon or to Caesar to be educated. The Jews would be horrified to think that that was an option for them.
When I think of parents' responsibility, I think of baptism. You bring the child to a pastor like myself and you ask for baptism. But I found that most of the people that come would say almost a ritual necessary for the child to become saved, or a ritual necessary for the child to join the church, but they don't think of it in these terms. No child is born anything but lost. No child is born by free will. If the Lord opens the womb, closes the womb. No child comes into this world except with the Lord's permission. No child goes out of the world except with the Lord's permission. This child does not come into that family by accident. So what is going on with baptism? Well, what you're saying is the same thing that was said with circumcision. The child did not come into here by free will. He did not come into here by chemicals or hormones or anything else. The child was born by the will of God. The Arminian idea is somehow or other that comes by natural processes. Well, natural processes may be involved, but there's no child born into this world accidentally. And that's what you're saying at baptism. This child was born dead to human flesh. And we hope that by baptizing this child, that he will be born from above a second time. That he will be born from a dead person to a person that will live forever with God in heaven. And you ask the Lord, you receive your confession, this child is a sinner, this child was born from us, this child is dead spiritually. And you want that child to have eternal life. And so you ask the Lord to give him eternal life, and you make a covenant in return to teach all things whatsoever the Lord has commanded to that child. In other words, you will equip that child to be his eternally, if only he will give him life. Because you cannot give life to a baby that lasts forever. You cannot give eternal life to any child. You want God to do that. You surely want your child to be in heaven forever, don't you? Well, then you have a covenant with God that he will give this child real life, everlasting life. There are two kinds of lives talked in the Bible, that which is temporal and that which is eternal. John 3:16 is talking about the Lord is going to choose some to everlasting life. Not all, some. And if he does, then you obligate yourself to teach all things whatsoever the Lord has commanded you to do. And as Dr. DeMar says, sure, you can hire guys like Grace Community School, you can hire others to do so, but it's your responsibility to seek to educate that child for eternal life. Not just seek the church that your father went to, or the church that your mother went to, or with your traditional native, whatever it happens to be. You are going to teach and get someone else to teach, God help you. Even if it breaks your budget, like Dr. DeMar was talking about, you are going to give that child the instruction necessary for eternal life. But you cannot ever give them the life. By going through baptism as he commanded them to, you can make a covenant which may or may not bear fruit. Thank you.